Welcome back to Switched to Linux. Well, today we want to have a first look at Big Linux. A few people have asked me to have a look at this. Apparently it's made some rounds, maybe had a new release. I've never seen it before. This is one of those distributions that's, based on a. So it's just one of those things that's out there. It is based in Brazil, so that is your native language, and the website is actually done in Brazil. It was Brazilian, I guess. And they do have Google Translate on there, so we can actually read what is on most of the page. So we'll be able to have a brief look at that. But enough people have asked me to have a look at it. I said, well, we'll just go ahead and download that and have ourselves a gander. This is based on Manjaro. So, of course, Manjaro is downstream from Arch. And so there we're starting to be something like that's based on Ubuntu, which is based on Debian, things like that. But let's go ahead and start by taking a look at the installation and setup, and then we will, while that's going, we'll have a look at what the website looks like, and then once we do that, then we will come back and have a look at the distribution itself. So we have our GNOME boxes set up. I've already dropped our box in there. We're giving it 6 gigs of RAM, 20 gigabytes of disk space, and let's go ahead and boot this guy up and see what happens. So we can start it with proprietary drivers, so new NVIDIA GPUs and Broadcom wireless, or open source only, so old NVIDIA GPUs or AMD, Intel, and other computers. So that's actually pretty cool that we have neat options there right on the boot. Not sure what this blank one is here, but we can select the blank. That might be the black pit or something. You click on that, the whole world just blows up. So don't push the shiny, beautiful red button. We have advanced options with proprietary. We have advanced options with open source. I'm just going to go ahead and start it with the open source drivers without doing anything crazy or advanced here. So let's go ahead and, yep, we are already maximized, just waiting for the screen up there, the screen bar to disappear. And hopefully this will boot on into the system and we'll be able to see what we got. All right, so when we first start out, we have a variety of different languages. Of course, Portuguese, that's the native language. My apologies. All right, we'll choose the United States and English, and then choose the theme for the applications. And so we have Breeze, we have Breeze Dark, we have Fluent Solid, Fluent Dark. So we have a few different options in there. We'll get the screen resolution right when we get booted in. Let's go with Breeze Dark today. Now we can choose a desktop. So use GPU in browsers, improves performance, but on some equipment causes some instability. Okay. Then we have a classic view, more like a Windows type build. We have a K-Unity type build, like the old Ubuntu Unity. We have a new, next generation. So our modern Windows 10, OS X, Desk X, that's probably your OS X. And you have our more modern. I like the classics, so let's go ahead and run with our classics. And then we'll go ahead and let this guy begin its process. So we land here, and again, let's go ahead and fix our resolution. Let's see if we can do it down here. There we are. We can configure our displays right here, and let's go ahead and set this up to 920 by 1080. All right, there we have it. We're going to keep that. So there we have it, guys. We're very, look at that. It's pretty nice. We just open this guy up, see what that looks like. We've got some nice, is that conky going on, or not conky, compositors going on. All that fun stuff I used to put in my systems, but I got bored with it. We do have Brave, actually looks like the default. Somebody actually asked on, I think on Twitter the other day, what is the, what distributions have Brave by default? It looks like we might have a winner here. We have Brave by default on Big Linux. All right, let's go ahead and install the system. See what type of installer we have. Oh, this is neat. This is actually kind of fascinating. I'm very impressed by what I'm seeing here. We have pattern performance compatibility. And we have a few different options here. We have ButterFS with FSync, ButterFS without FSync, and ext4. So this is better for compatibility, doesn't compact the data, doesn't have easy restore points, does not desist in data recovery, but works really well with old partitioning tables and things like that. We have performance, so compacts the data. We have good restore points. We have desist data, and it may have some problems on some devices. And then we have a pattern. So, I don't know. The dark pattern is just going to have me select performance. So, you know, dark patterns, guys, they're evil. Dark patterns, I was pulled into selecting what I want by selecting the dark patterns. All right, so we have Calamaris installer. All right, we're going to start with American English. That's good. Let's just go to the New York time zone. I try and keep everything in EST, despite I'm in Texas right now. All right, we have English defaults. Now here we can erase the disk, or we can do manual partitioning. Currently, there's no partition tables at all, since I have created a brand new disk out of this. So we'll go ahead and erase the disk. This is going to automatically do the partitioning, and then you can choose no swap, swap with no hibernate. Pardon me, guys. I've been working on a website that does hydration products for the last couple weeks. Swap with hibernate, and we have swap to file. Let's go with swap with no hibernate. And then here's the location of your master boot record. So if you do want to change out to a separate place, so if you're looking at installing this, you're installing this on a laptop and using a USB drive, right? You can actually go in here and select where that thing is at. That is important. Not all installers will have this option. This does. I know MX Linux does. A few other ones will as well. All right, let's go ahead and let's do, we'll just do Big Daddy just because, you know, it's Big Linux. Why not? Enter my super secret password. It's definitely not 123. And then we can log in automatically without, but we're going to go ahead and use our password. Make sure everything looks good. So that's good. Here's the partition table it's going to make. So we're installing a bootloader. We're installing Big Linux on a new ButterFS system. We are creating a new partition for swap. We have a boot partition, and then we have some ButterFS, and then we have an MS-DOS table as well, because we can never escape MS-DOS. All right, let's go ahead and push the install now, and this guy is working on its installation. And while that is working on its installation, we will go ahead and head on over and look at the website, which is running a video on the front. Kind of annoying, but oh well. Here's the Google Translate bar. We're going to click that out just so I can see the menu. See, Google Translate does not help us translate the menu, so my apologies. I can't read any of that. All right. Oh, come on. Okay, hold on. I need to reset. I need to not kill the Google Translate bar. I think that's the problem. But the way the site's built, I can't see the menu if it's there. So let's go. Come on, Google Translate. It's looking up Google Translate. I see it right now. I see it. Come on. Okay. Apparently, it does not want me to do that. All right. I can select the language from the bottom here. Let's go ahead and select our language. It was working in English, and then I closed the language bar so I could see the menu, and apparently that was a bad idea. There we are. There we go. All right, so it will actually show us the bar. You probably can't see it from under there, but we have our download, we have our support, forum, Telegram, Facebook, Big Blog. We have photos, we have videos, news, we have others. So what is it? Contribute and contact. So here we have easy to use, solves your needs. It even works even without installing. So the live key. There's some Office software, so that's good. Web apps. Of course, most distributions are now shipping with the ability to create your web apps. I think Peppermint was kind of in the lead with that, with the ICE applications. And then Linux Mint put it in, and now I believe it's part of GNOME as well. So this is Plasma, so I don't know if this is a separate standalone application or if Plasma has added it in the recent releases as well. Here's some games, remote access software. We have restore points, thousands of programs, more space for your files. Mostly this is because of the different file system. Integration with your smartphone. So KDE Connect is what they're going to use for that. Stunning performance. It's free, always up to date, 29 languages. So lots of fascinating things down here that we find inside of here. I want to go up and I want to look at the, let's see, what is it? What is free software? Reasons to develop free software. All right, let's have a look at this guy here. So the project is ultimately for anyone who wants to develop applications for the Linux operating system. The main objective is to create facilities for the user, making complex resource accessible in a simplified way through a graphical interface. All right, basically it's a Linux distribution. It's technically a GNU Linux, not just a Linux. It's not Linux. It's GNU Linux, of course. All right, so dissemination of free software. So not a lot of real detail about just kind of your basics over here. But that's probably okay. We kind of know what we're getting into here. Here's financial donations, documentation, code, and disclosure. Here's GitHub. Let's have a look at a couple of photos over here. So here's the classic desktop. Let's have a look at their screens here. All right, so here's your classic desktop. Here's your new desktop, modern desktop. Here's your Next G. Here's your K unit, like Unity. Here's your Mac OS type desktop. So that's kind of neat. It'll be interesting to see if we can scroll back and forth. But what we've been looking at the site, which honestly there's not a ton of information on the site, but let's go ahead and come back on over here because we have finished our installation. So you can see that was really quick. This is all done in real time. I have not made any cuts to the video yet. So we get a chance to see really what is in there. And let's go ahead and click on this guy here. We have advanced options. Here's our big Linux. And we'll go ahead and maximize our screen. And hopefully it will log us back in with the same resolution. If not, we might need to change our resolution one more time. And then it should remember what the resolution changes are because that's typically what is going to happen. So without really having a look at much else, this is not just a reskin Manjaro. This is something else. And they put a lot of fascinating, cool things into this so far. So that's kind of the case. All right, so we can do Plasma, or we can log into a control center. I have no idea what the control center is going to do, so let's stay on the Plasma. Now, if we had a Wayland option, it would have appeared down here, but I'm not sure what that control center is going to do, so let's go ahead and ignore that one for now. All right, so let's get logged in, and it did find, oh, well, yep, there you go. It found our screen size. So we have down here, we have minimize all windows. We have the Dolphin File Manager. We have Brave as our browser default. And we have our simple application menu. I have not used KDE for a while, so I can't remember exactly which menu that is. You guys can leave that in the comments. Now, because it is KDE, you can do edit applications, and you should be able to find an alternative if you're in your edit mode. We'll walk through that in just a moment. So here's your introduction to Big Linux. We have themes and desktop settings. We can choose our avatar. We have our language packs. So if we do want to change our desktop settings, this is our basic theme. This is our desktop layout. And we have our overall settings. So performance, we can turn performance on or off, browser acceleration on or off. We have Brave configurations, choosing programs to load during boot. So there is a lot of really cool stuff in here. This is actually really awesome. I like it. All right, so here is Brave as your default. There's other browsers, probably going to open up the big store. So here we have Firefox. Is this WaterFox or it says Firefox? And that's different. Or is that the nightly build? I think that's the nightly build. We have Opera, Vivaldi. We have Chromium, Falcon, Pale Moon. We have Epiphany. And then in the AUR, we have Google Chrome and we have Microsoft Edge. I mean, bleh. But, oh well, hey, at least they're there for the people that need them. See up here, I can toggle on or off Flatpaks. I can toggle on or off the AUR. And then this is the native packages. So if you want to go with a more of a view with just flat packs or whatever else, you can do that. All right, so that's neat. Let's go ahead and see our next screen. Okay, so here is how you can connect your phone. So this is going to grab your Google Play app. So this is going to be the KDE Connect app, which you can actually get, I believe, from F-Droid as well. But they're only giving us the QR code to download it from the Play Store. If you're using like Lineage and you avoid the Google Play Store, you'll just have to search it up. It is called KDE Connect. So you can see that's what that is there. And those are the settings. Here is the link to F-Droid. So you can grab it from F-Droid as well. All right, let's go ahead and head on next. We have our driver manager, we have our info, and we have our printer settings. So let's pull up our driver manager, see what we get. So we have, it has automatically detected our virtual machine, so it installed the drivers for the virtual machine. Here we have Wi-Fi card drivers. Wow. Dude, this is like totally awesome. If you have weird hardware, this might be a distro you look for. Here's wired network. So if you want to install something specific, you can do that. Here's Bluetooth. We don't have Bluetooth on this computer. Printers. Let's see what happens with printers. Look at this. Various brother printers. I wonder if I can search for HL3. I do not have the exact model number off the top of my head. I know that my printer drivers are in the AUR, so I assume that it will be in here. I just can't remember the name of my printer, and you know, it's in the back of my van right now. So there's some 3D printer stuff, scanners, digital TV, webcams, FaceTime touchscreens, sound, and nebulous other. So a lot of cool driver information. That's good. Big info. So looks like I need to enter a password to access hardware information. So we can, it looks like we can bypass the password and not have as much information, but it does want our password to see all of the details. All right. So here's the processor, here's the RAM, here's your video, here's our whole system. So we have 14 gigs available, so you can install this on a really small system as well. Very, very nice. It's no vanilla OS, that's for sure. All right. So here is, we have the control center. I think this just goes back to what we had earlier. Themes and desktop, restore program configuration. We have kernel and desktop versions. Let's have a look at that real quick. Big kernel manager. Man, these guys went all out. There you go. So we are currently running 6.1, and you can install 6.2 release candidate if you'd like to try it. You can go all the way back down to 4 if you want to do that. We can actually choose a few different options here as well. That's going to synchronize some databases. Fortunately, we have a decent internet connection where we're at right now, so we'll go ahead and let it do its thing there. All right. See what else is in here while it's doing its thing. Snapshots and backups. Snapdrop, no app required. Still working. Still working. We're going to put that over there for now. All right. Monitors and screens. Oh, there we are. So this is giving us a few things to conflict with. We're just going to go ahead and cancel that guy. All right. Very nice. Very nice indeed. All right. Well, there's our control center. Here's our phone information. Here's our privacy settings, firewall, KDE password wallet. There's various devices that we have. All right. We already looked at the store briefly. Here's our web apps. So no web apps here. This looks very much like the ICE applications. Enter your URL, enter a name, and then you can change the web application, choose your browser. Of course, we only have Brave installed right now. This is the category where it will appear in your menu. And then we can create or not create a desktop, and then we can do some extra things as well. So very nice. All right, next we have, if you want to help donate, here's their YouTube channel, Twitter, Facebook, Telegram. So there we have it. Now we are up to date with all of that. We have our control center is over here. And just having a brief look in here. Here's our card games, K-Patience, K-Mines, Lutris. Do we have Steam pre-installed? Huh, look at that. We do have Steam pre-installed. That's kind of neat. All right. Here's your graphics applications. Internet. We have Qubit Torrent. We have remote desktop. So you do already have all that set up and configured here. We have VLC. Video converter. Okay, now we're going to cancel Steam. I'm not installing Steam right now. All right, we have a video converter. I've not seen this before. Ooh, look at that. A new application I'll play with sometime. Probably won't do it on YouTube. It relates to open source media stuff. I don't want to get booted off again. All right, we have the full suite of LibreOffice installed. There's Big Store, Control Center, software updates. Here's Dolphin, K6 Guard. There's your basic utilities. Web apps. So we already have a lot of web apps built in here. Way more than I would like to see. Ew, ew, ew. A Facebook web apps? Ew. We do have a Jitsi Meet, though. Messenger, yikes. Odyssey, Office 365. So we have a ton of things in there, so we might need to come in here and delete some web apps. All right. Here's Google Web Apps. So a lot of Google heavy things in here. So definitely not a distribution that really takes privacy high on its list of priorities just based on a lot of the connections with Google and things like that. But overall, I mean, you can remove all that stuff. That's not a real big deal. So here's our system here. We are running on just under a gig of RAM. And this is very responsive. I've had some issues with responsiveness in Plasma in the past, but this one does feel really good and really responsive. All right, one thing I'd like to do is I'd like to go back into the control center. I want to look at these other desktop options that we have because I'm kind of intrigued to see what these other ones look like. So we are on Classic. Here's your KUnity. All right. Do I have to restart a bunch of stuff? Oh, nope. There we go. Okay. So here is your Unity-like feel. Okay, there you go. Here's new. So it looks okay. So this one's the overall panel is very similar, but they've given us an alternative menu. All right, here's your next gen. So it looks like we just have a dock option here. So that looks pretty nice. Here's the modern. I'm guessing this is like a Windows 11 type. Yeah, it looks like a Windows 11 type. And then here's your Desk X. Should be our Mac type. Say we have our panel and clock in the top. We have our application launchers doing that. So yeah, it does actually does a pretty good job of giving us a lot of different panel lookalikes. So somehow I changed my my desktop view or onto a different one, but oh well, we'll figure that out later. So overall, this is a really nice application. So what is this going to be good for? I think that this is going to be good for a person that really wants to have a very up-to-date system. Being based on Manjaro, very downstream from Arch, is going to be, it's not going to be absolutely as cutting edge as running pure Arch, but it's going to be pretty close. Manjaro has had a reputation in the past of having a few stability issues. I personally have not had those stability issues, but I know many, many competent people who have. So I think it might just, what hardware are you using and things, stuff like that. But this guy here, it looks like they've really done a lot into it just to make sure everything's working out of the box. You can choose all the different layouts. If you like the modern Windows 11 look, you like the Mac OS feel of your system, or the classics like I like, just the old classic 95, 90X, XP, whatever. That's the format I like, so it's my personal preference. The system does seem pretty snappy. It works pretty well, and they just have a ton of cool tools and features in here. I'm really impressed by what these guys have done. I think they've gone and done a really good distribution here that has a good balance of tools, excellent ability to deal with your proprietary drivers. They're obviously not as focused on privacy as I like, but that's okay. If all you're doing is putting in a bunch of web apps to websites I already have blocked on my network, no skin off of my back. Although I do have to go into their web applications toolbar there and delete a bunch of stuff, but that's actually pretty easy stuff compared to what I used to have to do with de-bloating Windows. Take a whole day to install and configure Windows and another whole day to de-bloat the crap. But this guy here, it doesn't feel big or bloated. It has a good balance of software packages. Obviously, they have a few gaming things set up. They have Steam already configured and ready to go. Just need to boot it up and log on in. And they have a good methodology for installing software. And I did see the updates in there as well. So you can set those to automatically go or not. Our kernel is, a very modern kernel, of course, being based on an Arch system, so that is good. So you're not going to have this working necessarily on some of the older hardware, like super old hardware. It may not support it quite as well. But if you just have good run-of-the-mill average hardware for the last couple of years, this is going to install really well, and it gives you a lot of options and a really good feeling for Linux the first time. And for somebody whoever wanted to know on Twitter, hey, what distributions have Brave by default? Big Linux. There are a few other ones out there I've seen as well, but I did want to highlight that as well. So it is definitely making a little bit different approach than many other Linux distributions. It's not giving us just the basic Firefox, just the basic applications. And it's certainly not just a reskin to Manjaro. They put a lot of extra tools and functions and features into it. So my hat's off to you, Big Linux team. You guys did a great job on this one. I'd encourage you guys to have a look at it. Of course, I will have a link to the website where you can download it in the description down below. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux. Thank you for watching this video from Switched to Linux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software that makes producing this show possible. Please remember to support your software communities. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.